All right, welcome back to the stream. Let's go ahead and get started. Move you guys back over to our map. We bring you back with the evening, and it's Jarrel and Ardreth and Greybeard are discussing or just having a conversation about stuff they've done, where they've been in the last few days or months, kind of a little bit from where they are, kind of a feeling out of the different characters and getting to know each other type of conversation, while the others are resting and meditating after the battle. Is there anything else that we want to do besides the group telling me how the night is going to go through, as far as who's on watch, who's not on watch, and those kinds of things? Is there any other RP scenes we need before we continue?
So I guess it doesn't need to be an RP scene, but we just I try and bring Ardreth up to speed on why we're here, and how we got into this situation. Just kind of high level that we were hired to kind of mediate, and we got here. Town was in shambles.
The person who hired you is dead.
Right. The person who hired us is dead. Actually, I leave that part out.
Oh, all right.
But, just in general, the goblins and the orcs and stuff. And then, we've discussed that we're going to head out in a day's time, give ourselves a day of rest, and then we'll head out to find the villagers.
Okay. As you're kind of talking about that a little bit, the lieutenant, you guys know his name is Galparin. He mentions that he's going to set several of his men up at the front gate, and they're going to stay on guard throughout the night also. So he'll rotate some of his men out at the front gate, and then okay. He kind of points to one of them, and again, it's a mixture of men and women, and they move over and they just kind of hang out near the cart. And then they'll rotate out throughout the evening.
Okay. And so I'm guessing about an hour has gone by, so I'm gonna go spell Alara.
Okay. So how's the evening going to pass for the group? As far as, is anybody going to be taking watches, and how long? That's the first thing I would need to know.
So I'll take a full 8 hour.
Okay, but we're going to say right now it is 8 p.m. Just so we know where we're at.
Yeah, I'll take watch until like 4 a.m.
Okay. I'll take over after that.
Armel can't see in the dark, so he's just gonna sleep.
Okay. I assume in the chapel.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be watching the bottom of a mug.
Okay. For the entire night?
I suppose when the ale gives out, I'll pass out somewhere.
Oh, there's enough in there for you to keep going.
All right, I'm working on my inspiration then. It's one of my character flaws. I won't stop until I'm unconscious or the beer's gone.
Okay, so we're going to have you pass out in the kitchen where the beer is then. So go ahead and move your guy up there. Ardreth, where are you going to rest for the evening? You've kind of been shown 2 buildings so far, but not really much else in the town. And you might be muted if you're talking.
Yeah, I was. That worked out well. I was going to keep Greybeard company for a little bit until he got too dwarvish. And then of the 2, the inn or the church, which one looked like it had a better place to sleep?
The inn still has 2 rooms have been destroyed by rock falls. 1 room is already occupied. There is still 1 room that is open upstairs.
All right. Well, I will go and grab that room and
Galparin,
place
you
to
notice
sleep.
Galparin kind of walks with you up the stairs, and he kind of points to one of the northern rooms, as saying that one's open if you're looking for a room. And he kind of, even though the door is shut, he kind of points you at it, and it's
All right.
basically the north eastern side of the building. So you can just put yourself in the northeastern side there.
All right. I will head up there. Is it there?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Okay.
And when I do get inside, I'll make sure to bar the door before I go to sleep. The best I can, block it with something in there.
Okay. While you're on the stairs, as you get up to the second level, go ahead and give me a perception check. So give me a perception roll.
Okay. Is it 20 side plus 4, right?
Yeah, or on your character sheet, you should be able to click
Oh,
on perception
click it.
and it should roll it. Yeah.
That's even
Should be on the
easier.
word. Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Nice. You actually pick up, coming from one of the southern rooms, you hear low murmured voices. So you can tell there's obviously somebody in the southern western room. Okay, because there's
Okay.
4 basic rooms, so almost kitty corner from where you are. But it's across the hall.
Okay.
And you think that's a pretty good roll. I'm going to say you're not hearing what the words are. You're not actually hearing what they're saying, but you think it's a male and a female.
Okay.
And then that's that. The guard, Alara, has gone back to check with Sidiri, who has woken up from being unconscious but is resting to regain her health. So I'll put her at 1 hit point for now until the morning. We will remove the unconscious state. And Kalen will join the guards at some point in the evening. He doesn't get there probably till... actually, Kalen goes back up to the top of the keep. So he's on the keep, which is the highest point in the area, and stands watch up on top of the keep, which is pretty kind of customary for these guards. And Alara watches over Sidiri. Okay. And then throughout the night, the guards will, the mercenaries will change. A couple of different people will change. Jarrel, you're noticing that it's about every 2 hours. One of them will come over and just take the place of the other one. And then the other one will go back over to the campfire. And they're just, doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason except that every 2 hours they switch over. You do notice the lieutenant sleeps out with his men, and you don't see Zolkin at all through the evening. You do see a light in the southern window of the southwest top of the inn. So you're sure that there's a light up there. So somebody's in that room for sure. You don't know if it's Zolkin. You don't know if it's Greybeard or Ardreth. Somebody's obviously up in that room, but you don't see any other lights anywhere else in the building. And throughout your watch goes uneventful until the changeover. All of you are back up to full hit points at this point when you make the change. So that would be the 4 a.m. Ian change. Everybody should have on their character sheets marked 900 experience points, which is where you guys would be at this point. Ardreth, we're going to bring you in as 3rd level, so don't worry about. You're basically the 3rd level bard as you come into town, so that's where we're starting you out.
Sounds good.
All right, and then Ian, you go through the evening. Again, you don't see anything. Actually, no. Actually, yeah. Let's say at about 5 a.m., you see movement on the road, coming up the road, and you recognize it as the band of elves are heading back north again. Let me put them on the map here. Give me just a second as I switch things over. You see the group, they're kind of jogging to the north. And then you see one of the elves kind of peels off and then comes up towards the gate to where the light is, but the other ones continue jogging north.
Which one is it?
And you recognize it as Rond, is coming up to the gate real quick. He sees you up on the tower.
I jump down I go down the tower, and I crawl over the cart and I go meet him.
Yeah, and you notice the human guard. It's one of the female mercenaries right now. She kind of gives you a look. She takes her weapon out, but doesn't really do anything, and she just kind of watches you go past the cart and then head over to talk to Ron, who comes jogging up to you. And he says, "Well met, youngling."
Well met, Ron of the Ardreth. I expect everything went well with the orcs.
You will be troubled by them no longer. That orc band is now gone, and they will be collecting no more elven ears. We are heading back now to Ardreth. We wanted to stop to make sure that everything was okay here.
Yes, we haven't had any more trouble from the goblins who attacked or the orcs. Everything has been fine.
Goblins?
Other than the occasional human. Yes, goblins, when we first approached this town, it was being ransacked by at least a dozen or more goblins. We killed about half, if not a little more, before they escaped.
That must have been Hark's band. We've chased them out of Ardreth about a month ago, but they must still be in the area then.
Yes. They vowed to come back and attack us, but goblins, I'm not terribly worried of them.
Nasty little creatures.
Yeah.
Well, then I'm going to rejoin my people. Just wanted to make sure that everything was fine here and to let you know that the orcs will no longer be bothering you.
I'm happy to hear that. Is everything okay with the elves of the Ardreth?
Yeah, we repelled the orc attack, which had been the latest issue, but at this point, everything is safe in the woods, and we are now heading back to be with our brethren.
Happy to hear that. We came here originally at the request of the human lady of this town. She spoke of, oh God, what was it? Peace? Trying to get a peace between the two? Is that what our initial plan was?
Yeah, the
let
initial...
you guys to let them still hunt in there, I believe.
Oh, that's right. I wrote a lot of not nice things about that.
Mm-hmm.
We originally came here at the request of the lady of this town to have discussions with the elves of the Ardreth in the case of the stupid humans wanting to hunt in the forest. Has that been an issue between you two?
I would not say so much as an issue from us. We have had many quarrels and have chased the humans out of the forest many times. We do not wish them to be hunting within our lands, and we have told them repeatedly not to hunt within the forest.
I laugh a little bit when he says he's run them out.
And he kind of says, too, I would think Lady Velrosa would have learned after the last attack in which her husband had perished.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, they killed her husband.
Oh. Was that recent?
No, it was probably... And I think she did tell you this, but I think it was probably maybe a year ago was the last big skirmish between the elves and the humans.
Oh, so it's been about a year since they've
troubled and the elves pretty much trounced the humans.
Yeah, I assume, because, I mean, humans. Well, I'm happy to hear that things are okay with the elves. Hopefully the humans will find other means of gathering their food rather than stealing from the forest.
They have farms, and we hope that that's what they would use. The forest is sacred to us, and we've made that clear to them. And if they wish to venture in again, we'll make it clear to them again.
Okay, one more thing, Rowan. One of the female elves in your band gave trouble to one of my party. If we have to travel through the Ardreth forest, is she going to be an issue?
I can say for sure that a dark elf will not be welcomed within the Ardreth forest. There are many who have a prejudice against their kind. So I would be very cautious before attempting to travel through the woods with one such as him.
Okay, is there anything I should know about the Ardreth? I hail from the High Forest, and I know there are many dangers that lie there. Are there any in the Ardreth that I should be aware of, other than the normal?
None that we have not
Okay.
cleared out. Before we had come, there was plenty in the woods to be feared of, but not since we have taken residence.
I'm happy to hear that. Rowan.
And that is an important fact to kind of log away, is the idea that they moved in here, and it hasn't been a long time. It's not like they've been here for centuries or anything. They moved into Ardreth within a human's lifetime, even less than that. So they are recent residents of Ardreth Forest.
Okay, so I say just one more query, Rowan. I heard that the elves have moved into the Ardreth forest recently. Is that true?
Yes, we actually hailed from further north originally, and we have migrated. Let me look at my map here a second. We have traveled south from the Lurkwood, which were pushed out of, and our tribe has now set up here in the Ardreth forest.
Oh, you were pushed out of the Lurkwood. Can I ask from what?
Yeah, there were many wars raging within the Lurkwood, and there's many dangers and many things that not only did we fight orcs and goblins and trolls, but we also had issues with the dwarves in the hills and even some of the humans that come from the different towns around there. The Lurkwood is a very dangerous wood, and our villages were constantly under attack. And so we have moved further south to as we had been cut down in number, and our leader Oriana felt it was safer for us to move to the southern lands than to try to stay in the north.
A smart move. I'm happy to hear that the Ardreth forest is treating you much better than that of the Lurkwood. Do I have anything else that I want to ask this guy? Do we have anything else we should ask the elves? So, that was a broad question to everyone, if you can think of anything.
Who was here first? The humans or the elves?
Was it elves? I think it was the
Well,
humans.
depends.
Sure sounds like the
Yeah.
humans.
Yeah, Nightstone was here first.
Oh, okay. Have the humans always given you trouble? This seems like an old town.
We've definitely have had our skirmishes, and we've made our motivations clear to them many times. Eventually they will learn.
Okay. Other than that, is that all the questions we have?
I don't know if this was asked last time, but Oriana, it's Oriana, right?
The leader, yeah.
Yeah. Was she aware of this this negotiation?
Oh, that's a good question. It's a good one. I spoke a little bit before about Lady Volrosa. She called us here because she wanted to have, I don't know, influence or something, to go negotiate and speak to your leader. Is that something you were aware of?
Ron looks at you and thinks, you can tell him thinking a second or two, but he's like, I have not heard of this.
No, it seems no one has. Well, that's worrisome. Okay, that's it. That's all the questions you have.
That's the only thing I could think of for now.
All right. So, thank you once again, Rowan Arrowhome.
Yeah, and he gives you a pretty formal bow and kind of salutation of elves in Elven language, and I assumed you were speaking in Elvish the whole time. And then you see him kind of sprint off to catch up with his group that had been jogging past.
Cool. And I head back.
All right.
The tower.
And then for the rest of your watch, every 2 hours you'll see one of the mercenaries come over and take the place of the other mercenary. Again, you're seeing various men and women. That's at about 5 o'clock when that happens. What time is the group actually going to be waking up on this next day? Just so I have a sense of when you guys are getting up. Is everybody muted?
Is this the next day where we're going to be resting and getting to 3rd level?
Yeah. Yep. Just wanted to see what time you were going to be waking up.
Bright and early, spells away.
Okay, so 6 a.m. Sound good?
Yep.
All right. Okay, so let's move on to breakfast time. Ian, you see Zolkin comes out of the inn. He's talking to and anybody else that's outside of the chapel at that point, right around 6 a.m.-ish. Zolkin is exited the inn. He kind of points back over to the inn, and he's talking to his lieutenant, and his lieutenant kind of laughs, and he's going to go back into the inn and kick the dwarf who's been snoring the whole night, and round him up to get him out.
Right, beauty in the eye of the beholder. What? Huh? All right.
Yeah, and you see Galparin standing over you, and he's like, hey, you make a lot of noise. You should move on now.
Right, you can keep staying in my inn for now, I guess.
Okay. Don't you have something to do? All right. Yeah, you've been snoring loudly all night long. Then Zolkin's going to approach probably the first group member he sees. I'm going to guess is Armel, as he's Armel and Teagray who have walked out of the chapel. Yep. And he kind of strides over to you, both of you. And he mentions, so Galparin told me that your group's going to be heading out sometime today to track down the villagers. You believe they're still alive?
We hope so. And it will probably be more towards the evening.
Okay. And as you see over his shoulder, you see one of the horses is being brought out by one of the guards. And he kind of motions over his side. He says, I'm sending a rider to Waterdeep to tell him of the attack here at Nightstone. They're going to want to know that giants have attacked this town.
Waterdeep. How far ride would Waterdeep be?
His messenger's probably going to get there in about a day. You guys walked. It took you 2 days, but you were just kind of walking at a normal pace. But he's going to ride as if to give a message. And he starts to move towards the gate. He says, also, I've got... Oh, go ahead.
What time of day is it?
6 a.m.
Okay.
And then you also see 2 more of them are bringing horses out. And he's motioning to them as they come over, and you're kind of there at the same time he gives the orders to these two. And he says, I want you guys to ride south. There should be a farmstead down there, and search for our quarry. I have a message that she may be hiding at the farmstead. And so two of the riders, a male and a female, are on their horses, and they're going to head south. So you're seeing these riders. And Ian, you're watching. They kind of move the cart out of the way. And then the one rider rides down first, down the road at a fast clip. And then the other two are walking their horses down south. So we see 3 at this point moving along. This is all taking place right in the morning. One guard still stays by the tower. And Zolkin kind of turns back to Armel and Teagray and Greybeard, who has walked over by that time. And Ardreth, if you're out, you can overhear all of this too. None of it's being quiet or hush-hush. It's just he's talking normally. And he says,
I had headed out too.
I will stay here with the lieutenant and make sure that nobody comes across that drawbridge while your group is gone, and hopefully you can bring back the villagers.
And your quarry.
It's possible that she's with them still, so be wary. And the lieutenant comes over and joins him as Greybeard comes over.
So I ask him, because I'm not familiar with the story, but who's the quarry you're looking for?
He turns to you and he says, we've been hired. We're here to collect a bounty on a... let me find the name again. For whatever reason, I have Valrosa in my head. Kella. We're here to apprehend a criminal that has left Waterdeep. We had heard that she might have come here to hide out. But so far, we have not seen any trace of her.
Can you let me know when it's 8 o'clock?
Yep. Any other questions?
No. I wish him good speed on the trip.
Yep. Okay. Well, he's actually, he turns around and goes back to the inn, or actually over to his men. And so he's pretty much, and he's very kind of like used to being the one that's in charge. So he doesn't really ask you stuff. He just tells you what he's doing and gives you some information and then kind of moves off. So very, I'm an in charge kind of person, just informing you of what's going on. And then the rest of the guards
has an
hang
image
out.
in his head of this axe splitting the guy's face open from behind.
Nice. He does not notice your gleaming eyes. All right, and then the horses ride off into the distance, and we can move into our training montage if we wish. Unless there's anything else people want
So
to
assume it's
do.
8 o'clock?
Yep, unless anybody says there's something else they want to do before that.
Nope.
Going once, going twice. Okay, 8 o'clock, and well, we can start our training montage. Is there something you want to do, Jarrel?
Yeah, I'm gonna come out and notice that there's like a few of the guards missing, and I'm just gonna ask whoever knows where they went. What's going on?
Sure, whoever you go up to.
Probably closest to the door. So I ask Armel or Teagray, what's going on.
He sent some men south to report on the situation. Bring help, possibly.
Okay.
Not much
right.
of a concern for us, I don't think.
Okay. So okay. All right, I got nothing.
Okay. So moving into our training montage. So everybody hit their 3rd level. And just so that the people that are watching and watching on the stream get an idea of what changed for you guys, we've already done the hit dice increase. The characters were able to choose either to take the average +1 for their hit dice, or they were able to roll, and I assume everybody has done that. So they've updated their character sheets. But let's go through each of our group here and just get an idea of our newfound abilities, just so the chat knows as far as our people. So let's start with our Barbarian Dwarf, who's still kind of drunk, is going to try to go through his day here. What is different now for our Barbarian? What have you gained?
So last level, I got Reckless Attack. And adding on to that, now I'm following the path of the Berserker, and I've picked up Frenzy, which, whilst raging, you may take a single melee attack as a bonus action on each of your turns. When your rage ends, you take 1 level of exhaustion.
Okay, great.
And did you want a description of how that looked, or the training?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I think we'll skip over that part. Excuse me 1 sec. Oh, I swallowed wrong. Whew. There we go. No, I think we're okay, 'cause we'll kind of follow what we did on the last one. So that's all you got then. And you've got your character sheet is updated with that information.
Yep, and a boatload of hit points.
Okay, and Teagray, what is going to be changing for our wizard?
I'm getting access to 2nd level spells,
Okay.
which so far my choices, I'm thinking of taking the 2 I get for 3rd to be invisibility, and I'm playing around with enlarge because I'd love to see Greybeard about twice the size he is currently.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So basically just some spell slots then is what you're gaining?
Yeah, that's really all I gain.
Okay. Armel, what does our druid pick up?
Just spell slots.
Okay, so
And
additional spells.
if anybody notices during the day, he will actually have cast Animal Messenger and sent a message out at some point to his superiors.
So go ahead and make sure you guys have your prepped by the time we're about to leave. Make sure you have whatever spells you're going to do marked down as the ones that you have prepped. Jarrel, what does our monk get?
So Jarrel does some meditation and feels like he's on the cusp of something. He does get deflect missiles, which allows him to reduce the damage of ranged weapon attacks. And if he does reduce the damage to 0, he can catch the missile and send it back as an attack with proficiency.
Very cool.
He has available to him the ability to pick a monastic tradition, but he needs to go to a monastic order or a monastery to do that. So he's on the cusp of something. He knows that he's ready to break through a wall to like increase his abilities, but he knows that he needs like concentrated training. So he won't be able to get that until he's able to get to a monastery and focus about a week or so of time on that.
Okay. Ian, what does our ranger get?
After the last fight with the orc, I started noticing certain weaknesses that I hadn't noticed before, but I wasn't truly able to really take advantage of it. So I make sort of like a makeshift target board, essentially, or like a makeshift dummy on the side of what is that called? The temple, in that sort of empty area. And I start shooting, and I start noticing that if I hit a creature or hit something in certain areas, I'll probably be able to do more damage that way. In other words, I'm getting Colossus Slayer which allows me to deal an extra D8 of damage if a creature is below its maximum hit points.
Awesome.
I also pick up Primeval Awareness, which is more awesome in the UA, which is great. It allows you to. I'm able to sort of like I'm able to innately communicate with beasts. They recognize me as a kindred spirit, and through sounds and gestures, I can communicate simple ideas to beasts as an action. I can read its basic mood and intent. I can learn its emotional state, whether it's affected by magic of any sort, and its short-term needs as like food and safety. And as an action, I can try and make it persuaded not to attack, but I can't use it if the creature has already been attacked within the last 10 minutes.
Okay.
And additionally, the old school Primeval Awareness, where I can attune to the world, I guess, and see if any of my favorite enemies are nearby. So I need to spend an uninterrupted minute of concentration to sense if there's any favorite enemy around me within 5 miles. And and there's and I learned Hail of Thorns. So as I'm practicing, just like sort of like with ensnaring strike that I learned last level, or I guess 2 days ago in
Right.
game time, I do sort of the same thing where I concentrate, sort of like Hunter's Mark, where I concentrate, but in this case I concentrate on, instead of a whole being like it did in Ensnaring Strike, this time I think of an area, and I use the energy of the energy around me, and I send it through my arrow, and it splinters into many pieces into a hail of thorns within, I don't know, it's within 5 feet of everything. Or, yeah, it's within 5 feet of the person I hit, so what is that, like, 5?
So basically a square. Yeah.
Yeah, basically a square. So within a small area,
Okay.
I'm able to hit something. So yeah, I think that's all I learned.
All right, great. And you guys will see how the bard goes as we go through a session where he's actually in our session for our full session here. And really what we did, if you hadn't seen last time when our montage was, the melee fighters are the ones that are becoming tougher or gaining attacks. Typically will spend the day sparring with each other or sparring with anyone that is willing, learning some new stuff. The magic users there's a library in the keep where they can study some of the old ancient books and scrolls, and they can find some of the other additional spells that maybe they had not learned before. Our druid is able to walk amongst the field and just gain some of his druidic powers as he meditates and kind of communes with nature. And there's even some interaction between the groups, whereas the ranger and the druid might have some talks at some point throughout the day. The druid and the wizard might have some talks throughout the day. The melee fighters, will discuss stuff with each other. And that's how we're kind of saying they are gaining their new abilities. Within this module, just as a side note, one of the ideas is the level advancement is kind of hyperactive for the first few levels, as the module really wants you to get to level 5 before we enter in to the big storyline here. So that's kind of why it's at an accelerated rate. Just in case some of you are checking it out and thinking D&D super easy and every session I go up a level. That's not normally true. But in this case, we're rolling with it. We're going to play with it, and it's going to even itself out as we get a little bit further along the Storm King Thunder module. All right, so we're going to go through the day. Some guards stand guard throughout the day, some shift here and there, and we'll go through that whole montage, and we're going to go ahead and say all of that has happened, and it's about 6 p.m., so you got about an hour, maybe an hour and a half before it gets dark, and all of that is completed. You guys all are now truly third level characters. And what would the group like to do at this point? What is the plan?
So, have we told the I can't remember his name, Zai something or other? Zolkin? That's the guy. Have we told him when we were going to leave, or just that we were heading north?
I don't know if anybody gave him any specific idea. He just understood that at some point today you were going, but he doesn't know the exact time.
So I guess I suggest that we just sit down, grab some food, and then get ready to head out. And I say that, I guess, to Armel, Ardreth, and Greybeard, and Teagray. Where did Ian go?
Oh, I haven't moved myself. I'm still in the tower.
Oh, okay. All right.
Surely a mass of humanity heading north can't be too difficult to track. So I suggest we leave as soon as possible.
And as they start getting ready, I ask if perhaps they're looking for an additional bow and sword for their journeys. I've heard the plight of the villagers you're after and thought I'd offer my help.
Oh, I thought you were just going to give me a sword and a bow.
And I offer, but I think the bow might be a bit tall for you.
Oh.
Jarrel smiles at that and says, I could use another bow. We have lost another one that we had before. Then he kind of looks at the rest of the group to kind of say, is everybody in agreement?
Many
Sounds
hands
good
makes
to
light
me.
work. Let's go.
Besides, he can sing.
All right.
All right.
So we're just gonna head out right after we finish eating.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Cool.
Okay. Ian, while that is happening, Sidiri comes up to you, and she has in her hand a quiver, and it has 12 arrows in it.
Ooh.
And when you look at the arrows, these are very finely crafted arrows. And she kind of walks up to you and she says, I know you're going to get the villagers. It's definitely been too long for them not to have come back, so something must have happened at this point. And she said, these were Lady Velrosa's, and I want you to have them, and they will help you hopefully return our villagers to our town. And so you have a quiver of arrows, and they are arrows, and each one is a +1 arrow.
Oh,
And she hands them to you.
I bow my head as I take what she's offering, and I say, I greatly appreciate it. I hope all the townspeople are as safe as they can be, and we will bring them back.
And she says, we would go with you, but we feel like we should watch the town so that you're not coming back to another trap or something else far worse. We'll do what we can. If something happens, we will run north to try to warn you before you come back.
I greatly appreciate it. That is a great idea. Stay safe and keep an eye out for those goblins.
Yep, and she hefts her spear and she kind of gives you kind of holds her hand out, but more like the warrior embrace, so it's like the forearm to forearm kind of shake of two warriors, and then she says, may the gods see you back here safely, and may they see us here too. And she's going to head back over to the tower and stand guard.
When they do forearm to forearm, I grab them both and hug them.
Okay. Yeah, Sidiri looks at Ian like with a rolling of eyes and like, okay.
I just do the thing where I just start I don't shove him away, but I do put my hand down please stop that. He's like, it's in his face, it's smushing him.
Right.
Like, please.
Yeah. She lets you do it for about 5 seconds, and then she's like, I need to get back on guard, and then she heads back to the tower. All right. So the group is prepared. I assume all spells are readied on the character sheets. Everybody
Sorry, I was
has.
on mute.
Oh, is there?
Before Sidiri took off,
Oh.
I suggested that she keep an eye on the mercenaries, the bounty hunters. I just observed that they seem to be getting a little too comfortable. So don't let them boss you around.
All right. Yeah, she gives you a nod.
That's all.
Okay. Then she'll go to the tower. Now our intrepid group. Last minute preparations. Everybody's prepared. Is there anything else anybody wants or needs?
Change of underwear.
Dude.
Do we need torches or any other additional light to track as we go north?
I have the torches that are in my pack. I think everybody should have 10 torches each, right?
Yeah, and I have a lamp that I picked up that I looted off a goblin.
Are you looking for like breadcrumb kind of things, or just to light the way?
We got to find the path. I think I'm the only one without dark vision, though. So eventually I'll let everybody know that I will cast a spell to deal with my vision issues. But I am not a tracker.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Yeah, that sounds good.
well, let's head out.
Okay. So right here in the courtyard, how about you guys arrange yourself as your walking order? So how are you going to be marching north?
How long is it until dark?
You guys had about an hour to an hour and a half, you think?
All right, so I'll take the middle. If we're going 2 by 2, I'll take the middle until it gets dark, and then I'll move up to the front.
Place yourself as if you're heading north, because that's the way you'll be heading.
All right, so Ian's out in the front, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
All right. I'll go behind Greybeard.
Okay. So a pretty close group then? Nobody's off on their own?
No.
I'm gonna be a little bit ahead. Just like
Okay. So what would a little bit be? How far would that be?
20 feet.
Okay.
Like there. Just a little bit
Yeah.
ahead to
Okay.
get a head start.
All right.
Dang it, I can't go between squares.
Hold Alt
think
down.
Yeah.
Not that it matters, but I just want to get a good idea of if something happens where everybody's going to be.
Not that anything will, right?
Right.
I'd just be happy to get above that stupid compass thing.
Yep, it'll happen.
Finally.
I just need to know which person will die. I mean, wait. All right, Ardreth, are you falling in, or are you going to stay off to the side of them, or what?
I'm gonna follow behind there just a tiny bit. So I'll walk with a group, and
So like back down here-ish behind them type? If
I
they're walking
was
straight
there.
north?
Yep.
Or off to the side of them?
Are we heading out the gate? Or up
We're
north?
gonna. I'm setting it so you guys are gonna be walking
gotcha.
north.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. I
I'm
can
just
stay
setting
back
it
here
up.
by Armel.
Okay. All right. That's what I wanted to know. Okay. Cool. All right. We are at our top of the hour. We're gonna have a 5-minute break. We're gonna come back, and we're gonna then head north. So let me go ahead and switch you guys over to the character sheet, and we'll bring you guys back in. It's 9:00 on my clock. Let's go ahead and be back in about 5-ish minutes, and then we are going to head north.
Real quick.
Yep.
From chat, Lead Golem suggested this, and of course I would do it. I scrawl on the side of the taverns, Greybeard's Tavern.
Okay.
Nice.
Nice. I'm sure the guy who owns that's going to love it.
That's awesome.
I do.
All right. Well, chat will bring you guys back in about 5 minutes while everybody goes and fills their drinks, and we'll be right back.